When was the last time you experienced something that felt truly exciting without a screen involved? An unforgettable, genuine moment. A conversation that captivated you. A trip where you were truly present. A day when you lost track of time. Can you think of anything, or do you have to search for a long time? If you're honest, and most people don't like to be, the answer might scare you. Because one of the strangest developments of the last 10 years isn't that real life has gotten worse. It's that it feels worse. Even though, objectively, nothing has changed. And that's no coincidence. Imagine eating the sweetest chocolate in the world every day, 3 times a day, with extra sugar, every single day. After a month, you sit down to a normal lunch, roasted vegetables, rice, a simple meal, and suddenly it tastes like nothing. Has the food changed? No. But your tongue can no longer detect normal flavors because it's become accustomed to extremes. That's exactly what happens to your brain, and it happens faster than you think. We live in a time when entertainment is literally endless. TikTok alone had users spending an average of 95 minutes a day on the app in 2023. Netflix produces over 700 original titles per year. Gaming platforms deliver open worlds offering thousands of hours of gameplay, designed by teams whose sole job is to keep you hooked. This isn't entertainment anymore. It's an industry specialized in keeping your reward circuit permanently activated. And real life simply can't compete with that. To help you understand what's happening biochemically here, let's talk briefly about dopamine. Dopamine isn't a happiness hormone. And that's a common misconception. Dopamine is an anticipation hormone. It's released when your brain expects a reward, not when it actually receives one. That's exactly why scrolling is so hard to stop. Not because every video is good, but because the next one might be good. That moment of maybe is pure dopamine fuel. In 2022, researchers at the University of Michigan found that short-form video formats trigger dopamine release up to 3 times faster than traditional TV formats. And what happens when your brain is conditioned to this rhythm? Then you sit down in a restaurant, wait 10 minutes for your food, and your brain signals, danger, nothing is happening, stimulation is lacking, grab your phone. Not because you're addicted, but because your reward system has learned that waiting is a waste of time. Real life hasn't gotten worse, it's just become too slow. And what that does to real people, to real relationships, that's the part hardly anyone talks about. Dating has never been easy, but it's also never been as strange as it is today. A study from the US has found that the average time between the first match and the first in-person meeting on dating apps is over 3 weeks. 3 weeks of texting before you look each other in the eye. And even when the meeting does take place, more and more people are complaining about the same phenomenon. The conversation feels slow, the connection takes time. There's no skip button, no double tap, no algorithmic quality control. Real life doesn't deliver highlights. It delivers unedited, sometimes unglamorous, sometimes quiet moments. And a brain trained on perfectly edited 60-second versions of life classifies that as boring. A 2023 survey of American millennials shows that 41% say they often feel underchallenged in real-life social situations. Underchallenged in real conversations with real people. That should be a wake-up call, because it doesn't just affect conversations, it affects the way we experience the whole world. Let's talk about travel, or more specifically, about what has happened to travel. There was a time when a trip to New York, to Tokyo, to any foreign place began with genuine anticipation. You knew very little. You hadn't read 4,000 reviews. You hadn't watched 20 reels of the restaurant you wanted to visit. Today, you travel to places you already know before you even arrive. You've already seen the observation deck on 15 different channels. You know that the light for photos is best at 7 in the morning. You've already seen the trick with the mirror in the museum 3 times in your feed. And then you stand there, and somehow it's smaller than expected, quieter, less cinematic. Psychologists call this anticipatory consumption. You emotionally consume the experience before it even happens. And by the time it's actually there, your brain has long since broken down the dopamine. Researchers at Cornell University have shown that people who intensively research their destination online before a trip report significantly fewer positive memories afterward than those who did little research. The overload of impressions consumed in advance makes the actual experience paler, not richer. And then there's concentration, or what's left of it. In a widely cited study, Microsoft found that the average human attention span had dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds. More recent data from 2023 suggests that this figure has deteriorated further. But what does that really mean? It means that a conversation that doesn't provide immediate hooks is subconsciously penalized by your brain. It means that you're sitting in a lecture, a seminar, or a meeting, and after 8 to 10 seconds, your mind is already searching for new stimuli. Not because you're not interested, but because your nervous system has been trained to expect a new stimulus every few seconds. Real life doesn't operate at that pace. Real life breathes. And a brain that has forgotten how to breathe calls that breathing boredom. And now we come to the real question, the one that's truly worth asking. Has real life really gotten worse, or have our expectations simply grown? The honest answer is, real life hasn't changed. A good conversation still lasts an hour. A friendship still grows slowly. A beautiful sunset is still silent and unedited. What has changed is the frame of reference we use to evaluate life. A concept in psychology is called hedonic adaptation. It describes how people get used to new normal states, no matter how positive or negative they are. What used to be exciting becomes the baseline, and then it takes more to achieve the same emotional effect. But in the history of humanity, this effect has never before had an external machine that systematically and deliberately exploits it. Netflix, TikTok, gaming studios, they don't optimize for your satisfaction. They optimize for your time. And time on their platform means you're not somewhere else. In 2022, researchers at the University of Bath studied what happens when people consciously avoid screens outside of work hours for a week. Not forever, just 7 days. The results were clear: a significant reduction in anxiety symptoms, better sleep quality, and this is the part that really matters, a significantly higher perceived intensity of everyday experiences. Real life didn't get better, it just felt like real life again. Here are the takeaways for today. Your brain isn't broken, it's adapted, and adaptation can be reversed. Boredom isn't the enemy, it's the space where real thoughts emerge. Those who can't stand boredom never really think. Real life isn't slow, you've become fast. That's a difference that changes everything. Dopamine isn't a currency for happiness, it's fuel for anticipation. And when it never delivers what it promises, it burns you out. And most importantly, every experience you fully live, instead of just consuming, becomes a memory. Everything else remains feed. The question wasn't whether technology has made real life boring. The question is whether you're ready to give real life another chance.